Well, hey, I'm Lanette, and this is Sean Reed. And listen, we want you to subscribe to this channel because we have tons of content coming your way. But in this video, we're going to talk about how to be strong in love and see more than just your spouse's flaws.
Okay, so by nature, I'm a person who's very futuristic. I'm always dreaming of something in the future, how we can make the world a better place, or spend more money, or get a different house, a car, or something. And so as I'm creative and I would present my ideas to my wife, she has context and restorative as her lead strengths. And she would come in and it seemed like on all of those dreams, she would go pop, 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 and she would just poke holes in them. And I would feel so deflated and frustrated with the fact that I thought she wasn't supporting me.
Yeah, and I thought that he was being a little bit overzealous because we had young children. And for me, I'm looking at the day-to-day thing and I'm like, can we just get dinner on the table?
And so for us, I began to perceive her basically as one who was holding me back. And for her, she could perceive me as being a person who was a little unstable because I had too much that I was dreaming and thinking about. And maybe some of y'all can relate a little bit to that. But what began to happen, I began to see her in a negative light. And instead of me appreciating and valuing my wife, the person, and not just the opinion that was coming from her, I began to see her in a negative light. And it's very important to recognize this. If you're going to be strong in love, remember this. The way I perceive you determines the way I treat you. The way I perceive you determines the way I treat you. If I see my wife as my enemy, then what are the chances that I would love on her with compassion and mercy and gentleness? If my opinion or the decision that we're trying to make about our future or our family or parenting, if that decision has taken precedence over the person that I'm actually making the decision with, then I'm already slipping into this point where it's us against one another instead of us being unified and we together are one team who are facing all of the many challenges and transitions of life together. Then we're in a place where we've gotten it mixed up.
Yeah, so what I had to do, I had to almost look at the flip side. So initially I saw Sean as just being, just too much, just kind of pull back a little bit, being overzealous, always trying to reach. But I had to realize that he was reaching for the family.
That's right.
He was pushing for the family, not for his own benefit, not so that his ego could be off the charts, but so that we could be in a better place.
And she was doing the exact same thing, but in her own way.
Yeah.
Her way was to look at the plans and the dreams and say, well, what about this? Or in the past, we made this mistake. And so what have we learned from it? And so come to find out, God made us just the right team. She has a perspective, I have one. And we always say it like this, that vision for the home comes from both the man and the woman. And when two eyes see together, you get 20/20 vision. And so we had to learn a greater level of communication with one another to where we can begin to express our desires and needs without suppressing the other person. And if they disagreed or if they saw it in a different way, how can I incorporate that wisdom, that vision, that insight without it being a fight? And so being strong in love now is to where we are more important as a team than the decisions that we need to make. And yes, the decisions affect us and our children, but we're going to make sure that first and foremost, we're going to be a unified team.
In our book, Marriage in Transition, where you can get at marriageintransition.com, we talk about moving on from the past and not allowing the past to control your future.
That's right.
And so as you are moving forward, as you're doing things for your family that's going to benefit your family, but he talked about earlier, that perception, that different lens that you may have over your eyes may be from past experiences where they didn't do something right, or they did do something wrong and it caused you guys to be in a greater hole, or it may have caused a little bit of hurt in your heart. You have to move past that. If you want a better marriage, if you want a better future, if you want to build that legacy that God has for you, you have to remove those lenses, those sunglasses, and move past your pain so that you can move forward into that destiny.
Yeah, and one of the ways that you have to do that, you have to forgive them. You have to forgive them for mistakes that they made in the past. You have to see them now as who they are in this moment. You can't go back and change the past. You only have who you are in the present and where your life is headed for the future. And so you have to release it, let it go by forgiving them of times that you felt that they abandoned you, that they didn't hear you, whatever that thing may be in the past. And then you have to talk about where you are now and decide to move forward together as a team in the future so that you can remain strong in love as a couple. Listen, guys, if you all like this video, please make sure that you leave a like, leave a comment if you have a question as well. Don't forget to comment, subscribe to the channel. God bless you guys.